Yes, gang, how we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It's Wednesday. We're here talking about Harry Kane again, apparently, today. We're going to run through an article from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. We are going to run through Zidane Iqbal being sold for €1 million. I still can't get my head around that. That's going to be one of the main talking points to start the show. We're going to speak about Jim Ratcliffe and the murmurings coming from the south of France about a loss of confidence from Ineos in their takeover bid. We'll speak about Fred being put up for sale for 20 million. Again, feels a little bit of a low ball. Don't know. Speak about Andre Onana, Harry Kane, as I said, David de Gea and the likely exit. There's plenty to run through, as is the case every day. That board's been updated. That board's been going around on Twitter now. What was it? There was a comment. Oh, I can't believe somebody is... I'm more concerned that somebody's got a whiteboard. It's like, it's literally my job. I'm trying to do it as good as I possibly can. But look, good morning to everybody. How are we all doing in the comments? Let's have a look. Danny Jones, you're there. Judy, you're there. T, Ant, and Josh, I saw you were having a great conversation this morning before the live. So Stu, you're there as well. We've got Hybrid Hunter. We've got Ines. We've got Perry watching on Facebook. We've got Alex. Good morning to you. Ian Cartwright on Facebook. Victor on Facebook. Bully, you're there too. David Bradbury. Derek Martin. Wayne Taylor. Vicky Brissett. I like brisket. Maybe I like brisket too. Don't know why I said that. Anybody watch, what is it called? Barbecue Showdown on Netflix. I remember watching it randomly when I was in Ghana. Me and my mate Dan stumbled across it and I thought it was incredible. And the second season's come out. It's just good. Big up barbecue. Anyway, bit of a random intro. I know. Anyway, another day. Another Chelsea player. Looks like he could be on his way to Saudi Arabia. We're witnessing something that is that the Premier League's going to try their hardest to shut down. But I don't know whether they're going to be able to. This is it's quite unprecedented, the movements that Saudi Arabia, teams from Saudi Arabia have been doing this. Well, they are Saudi Arabia, basically. Didn't four of them become state-owned like 2 weeks ago? Don't know what it was. But it's a joke. Who is that now? I think Kante got announced this morning. Edouard Mendy, that was Fabrizio Romano gave it the here we go yesterday. Kalidou Koulibaly is going to be going there too. Hakim Ziyech is on the verge of it. You now got Callum Hudson-Odoi, and I'm sure there's others that I've missed as well. It's a genuine joke. This is really bad for football. As I said, you can try and stop any sort of direct state links, but they're just going to find ways around it like that. Anyway, another Chelsea player. Who could possibly have predicted that? There is one thing I really want to start with this morning, though, and it's when this came out yesterday from David Ornstein, I had to do a double take. I was like, nah, I've just read that wrong. I didn't say 1 million. Oh, it really does actually say 1 million. We've really sold Zidane Iqbal on a permanent transfer for €1 million. Let's quickly read the article first. Make sure we get all of our facts straight. All right. Man United have agreed a deal to sell Zidane Iqbal to FC Utrecht. The proposed transfer would see Iqbal move to the Dutch side for a fee of up to €1 million. Up to €1 million. Not £1 million, €1 million. About 850,000. 20-year-old completed a medical on Monday and is now set to join on a 4-year contract. A significant sell-on clause has been included. Simon Peach from PA confirmed that there's no buyback involved. It's just a sell-on clause. Now, I want you to let me know what your reaction to this is in the comments below, because my reaction was, it blew my mind. It really did blow my mind. Now, I completely appreciate that Zidane Iqbal, under Ten Hag, clearly, the road towards the first team wasn't there. Zidane Iqbal was probably one of the most impressive, he was the most impressive youngster probably on the preseason tour. And nothing happened past that point. Kobbie Mainoo was far more in and around the first team than Zidane Iqbal was. And I think I've made this point quite clear. When Ten Hag came in, I think it was Darren Fletcher who recommended to him the youngsters that should go on the preseason tour. So he recommended Iqbal, he recommended Charlie Savage and the others as well. But Ten Hag and his coach obviously spotted something, and as correctly they did. because Kobbie Mainoo is a player that is quite a few levels above Zidane Iqbal. But it's the price here, right? It's the price. Not every youth team player can come through and become a first-team star at Manchester United. But €1 million, for me, it almost looks like a bit of a fire sale. Like they really wanted to get rid of him. Like they had to get rid of him. Because it's too, it doesn't make much sense. Like you look at, I don't know, Gavin Bazunu is something that always sticks out in my head. The Man City goalkeeper, he was a Republic of Ireland international, but he'd never made any first team appearances for the club. And he was sold for 12, 13, 14 million. €1 million is almost like, well, you may as well loaned him. So maybe there's going to be, maybe in the goodness of time, we'll probably find out more information that might make us go, okay, right, that makes a little bit more sense. But as it stands, €1 million for Zidane Iqbal seems ridiculously low. As I said, almost like a fire sale of just, I don't care what price we get for him, just get rid of him. And look, Manchester United, a big up to United District for making this, because I thought it was quite an interesting list. We are crap when it comes to selling players and getting good prices. Now, we really, really are. If you go down this list here, I think the only player, might be wrong, one of the only players that we've made a profit on is Dan James. Dan James going to Leeds to 25 million. The complete opposite of how bad that Zidane Iqbal business was. Dan James 25 mil was like, whoa, that is that's mad. But if you look at all the players that we've sold here, kind of there's a couple that stand out. I remember when Daley Blind left, and I think, wasn't that when Mourinho came in? 18, 19? I think that was. He was in for 2 seasons, and then Solskjaer came in 22. I think that was it. Daley Blind, I remember that one. Yeah, 14 mil, it's not terrible. But there's hardly any transfers on there. We didn't break even on Lukaku. We lost money on Lukaku. I think the only one we've made profit on this whole list is 25 mil. 12 mil for Pereira to Fulham. Maybe that's a bit of hindsight saying that was underpriced, but it still felt a little bit cheap at the time. You go down here. Erik Bailly may be going to Real Betis for 2 mil. Erik Bailly might be going to Real Betis for 2 mil. Like, I know he's not. This is what I mean. I know he's not. I know he's not the most incredible player in but 2 mil. It's I'm staggered at the price of it. Nikki, you're saying Iqbal's got a 40% sell-on clause, I hear. Cool. All right. Let me just pull this thing up for you here. All right. Did this yesterday, and I may as well do it now. Let's say, for example, you're right. We've got a massive percentage of the sell-on clause. All right. Don't get too offended, Sam, because you know what? If he gets sold for, I don't know, 30, if he nails it out there, he gets sold for 30, 40 million, we could probably get a good payoff. Okay, cool. I would point you towards the most expensive players who have ever been sold by FC Utrecht. And the most they've ever got for a player is 7.4 million. I'm laughing, but it's not particularly funny. Where that sell-on clause is pretty much irrelevant, in my opinion. Like the most, if he goes for 10 million, it's the most expensive player that they've ever sold. And what we would get, 3-4 mil for that. For a young lad who has been at our club since he was 9 years old, right? Has spent 11 years developing as a footballer at Manchester United, growing up, facilities. I mean, we've probably spent even more than that on the development of Zidane Iqbal to this point. It just seems like a genuine pittance. It's pennies for Zidane Iqbal. That's what I think anyway. I'm not upset at the idea that Zidane Iqbal has left and he's not going to become a first team. I'm not saying that he was first team ready, because he wasn't. I would put Kobbie Mainoo ahead of him in the pecking order. But to sell him for 1 million just feels like a as I said, it feels like a fire sale. Just sort of like, I'll just get him off the books, right? Just get rid of him. Just get him out the door. It doesn't matter how much we get for him. Just get rid of him. That's what that feels like. So I wonder if we're going to find out more in the goodness of time. But yeah, that really, really annoyed me yesterday. Really, really annoyed me. It's this club has got to get so much better at signing players and the operations behind it and selling players. It's a big reason why City are where they are and how they've managed to sort of maintain the, I don't know, the cycle of squads, whatever you want to call it. Selling Raheem Sterling last year for 47 million. Do you think what he's selling to Chelsea for? What's happened? All right, okay. Not caused any problems whatsoever. And they got 47 million back. Man United, if you look down this list here, Manchester United just, I don't know, we keep players until they're old and grey and no one wants them anymore, and then we try and sell them. That needs to change. That's why I don't think he's going to be sold right now. But Jadon Sancho might be an example of, let's see if this club changes it. If next season Jadon Sancho stays and it just doesn't kick on, I think at the end of that season we go, right, we'll move Jadon Sancho on. Typically, United would have just held on to Jadon Sancho for another 2-3 years, and then he wouldn't have been worth much, and then we just sell him for pittance. That needs to change. Selling players for value and getting money back into the club is significant. It's a massive way of balancing the books, and we've not been good at that. Let me see what you're saying down here. How many games did Pogba have before we sold him? Bought him back for record? No, that's an irrelevant comparison. Zidane Iqbal was not Paul Pogba. Zidane Iqbal will never be Paul Pogba. And I hope he goes on to have a fantastic career elsewhere. I don't think that we've sold a player who could go on to be an absolute world beater. I'm more offended by the money that's involved in it. And just how can a million in the grand scheme of the modern game and the huge numbers around, you've basically just lumped him off for free. It's a strange one. So it really is. As I said, I think more information is going to come out on that over time because it doesn't really make much sense. Got some scratching on the mic from time to time. Maybe let me turn that down a little tiny bit. 1 second there. There you go. Right. I'm sure that'll be better. It's just the input might be a little bit too loud. I'm getting excited. What can I say? Let's move on to an important talking point. The most important talking point. Jack Stewart down as if. That makes me sick. Not doesn't make me sick that you sent a super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. David Beckham's still number 4 on our players sold list. Man United are so bad. So it's almost comical. It's almost like we do it on purpose. How bad we are at selling players. Almost feel like maybe a lunchtime video is worth that today. I don't know. But what I want to focus today. Next talking point, we're going to be speaking about Ineos. Then we're going to be speaking about Harry Kane, David de Gea, Kolo Muani, Andre Onana. So many players. Make sure you drop a like in the video and make sure you fire in your comments and questions. But let's talk about this, okay? This is coming from Nice Matin. If you don't know who Nice Matin is, an established and considered trustworthy media outlet down from the south of France. If you remember the interview I had, if I can remember correctly, his name was Luc Entwistle, and he was the senior editor at Get French Football News. And we spoke about Nice Matin, and he said, yeah, they're a pretty big outlet down there. They know what they're talking about. So they're reporting today, yesterday and today, that Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos they're losing a bit of confidence. And if you remember how this story has gone, right? This was, when was it? May the 12th. This was just over a month ago. All the news around Ineos and the takeover was positive, was confident. And that was off the back of their restructured offer, which gave the Glazers a way to maintain a stake. They wouldn't maintain a control of Manchester United, but they would maintain a stake, and they would therefore be able to profit off Manchester United succeeding in the future. That narrative has definitely switched, which I'm not surprised about after last week, right? We were here. We covered it all. Those two huge share surges that came off the back of the Al Watan news report about a Qatar takeover being imminent, and then Rio Ferdinand, and then the Reuters article about exclusivity talks. It's all gone quiet on the Western Front, isn't it? As I said, Monday was a bank holiday in America, so I was hoping, or I was hoping, basically. That's kind of where we are now. We're sitting and waiting in hope that an announcement's going to come. I guarantee you it happens when I'm in Amsterdam. I guarantee it does. Always annoys me that. Doesn't matter how much you can prepare and work, sometimes get caught out. I always get caught out. Alex, man, you legend. How you doing? Alex and I have been working in the background on the website for so long, but I still haven't finished it. I say I haven't finished it. The guys haven't finished it. But I promise it's coming in the background. And just as like I'm working on the software as well, I've kind of run into some issues. I need to do a lot more testing, but I'm so busy with the content that haven't quite been able to do that yet. But big up to you, Alex. Let's read through this article here. Let's see what's being written about this loss of confidence from Nice. Well, from Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos. There we go. According to Nice Matin, Nice owners Ineos are reportedly less confident of completing the takeover of Manchester United. The protracted sale. Jim Ratcliffe's been actively involved. He was at Carrington. Apparently, was he at Carrington? Yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. However, no end is in sight, and Ineos remain in competition. Whilst those reports have been denied elsewhere, since Nice Matin are reporting that Ineos have suffered a loss of confidence despite remaining focused on the purchase of the club. So they're saying, look, Ineos are less confident. And that pretty much that's the update for you. So kind of looking at that, I'm thinking, that's not really worthy of a lunchtime video. And that's why I always try and say, I try not to feed the hysteria and the hype. I don't particularly think there is a reason to do an extra video on the sale. I can see it in because I make content every day. I can feel the vibe among United fans, and the vibe this week has been one of just like, I can't be asked. I'm done with it until they actually say, here's a preferred bidder. It's going to be this person. I think everybody's sort of done with the conversation of it. We've all reached that point massively. There's a question there. I can fix it. Would it ruin or make your holiday if the sale was confirmed whilst you're away? Well, I'd rather it didn't happen because I want to be able to cover it coherently and properly here. If I'm there, it's going to be on my phone. It's going to be somewhere else. I'd rather it didn't, but hey, I'd rather it got announced. So I can't really pick and choose, can I? Let me see what you're saying down here. Julie, you nearly swore yesterday. That's serious. Well, get out of your system. It might make you feel better. Not that I condone it. I absolutely do. I swear too much. Anthony, you're saying you're done with it until it's done. Tyrell, how you doing, buddy? You're saying we're looking forward to the upgrades. Take your time. Thank you very much, dude. And I think I've said this before, and I've said it again. I've tried to find freelancers to help me with Streamlabs because I've done the majority of the work myself. But in terms of the testing phase, I'm so busy with content. It's kind of the last thing on my list. And with the takeover going on and transfers, I don't know when I'm going to get around to it. I need somebody on the outside coming in. So if you can, reach out to me and help me with that. And you're saying, is it a loss of confidence or getting sick of the Glazers' machinations? Because everybody is. The Glazers have played such a dangerous game throughout this whole process. And they've been... they've had utter confidence, the Glazers, that Jim Ratcliffe and the Qataris wouldn't pull out. They've clearly felt really supremely confident that it doesn't matter how bad our games get, it doesn't matter how long we take, they're going to stay in. And if at some point, because you never know, anyone else could do that. You know how on brand that would be for the takeover is instead of the announcement coming from the Qataris, not the Qataris, instead of the announcement coming from Manchester United that the Qataris are entering into exclusivity, imagine that we find out because Ineos released a statement saying we've pulled out of the race, which is effectively the same statement, but that takes the power away from the Glazers and Manchester United to make that statement. And that'll be like the Ineos sort of like, screw you at the end of it. You've balls around this much. I'm gonna be the one that leads with the statement. I don't think you can rule that. It will be odd, and I'm completely making that up in my head, but I wouldn't rule that out. This whole process has just been so drawn out. I think the Qataris and Ineos would have good reason to be pissed off at the Rain Group and at the Glazers, because both of them have done like 95% of the legwork now. So someone's going to be fuming at the end of it. Someone is going to be fuming. What else are we saying down there? Dean B are saying, what issue am I having with Streamlabs? I kind of can't really describe that whilst we're here live on the stream. So someone, if you want to help, that'll be brilliant. Reach out to me and I'll be able to explain. Thomas saying you can do the program from Dam. Maybe I'll do a live stream from Dam if the internet's good enough. We'll find out. And it also depends what happens, because there might be another weekend where you never know. Nothing happens. Let's be honest. That's probably what we expect more than anything. A weekend where it just doesn't go past. But we just don't get any more updates. But let's speak about Harry Kane. All right. Harry Kane, as you can see on that board there, you can see Zidane Iqbal down there as well. 1 million euros. I will forever scratch my head about that one. 1 million euros. I think we paid around about 5 to 6 million euros to sign Weghorst on loan for 6 months, because we had to pay, I think, about 2.5 million to Burnley, to Besiktas, for the Burnley loan to be cancelled, and then we paid a little bit more on top of that. I think it was around about 5 to 6 million euros that we paid to sign Weghorst on loan for 6 months. Yet we let Iqbal go on a permanent deal for 1 million euros. It's an odd one. And you're saying, why not take advantage, get Van der Sar on for a live stream? Oh, come on, Edwin, man. You're not busy anymore. You got some time off. Let's have a chat. Don't know if I'm going to... Yeah. Right, let's move on. Let's speak about this. It's come from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. Now, you might say, oh, Sam, Daily Mail, what's the point in that? But Chris Wheeler's he's built up not a perfect reputation, but he seems to be first with quite a few things these days. So I'll give him the time of the day and I'll read through the article and we can have a discussion about it. We're going to be moving on to transfers now. We've got Harry Kane, we've got Kolo Muani, we've got David de Gea, we've got Fred, 20 million. We've got a couple more players who we've been linked with. Bojang and DeMarco. It's almost like you're making names up now on PES 6. Anyone ever played PES 6? That kind of shows the old man in me. That was the king of football games for me. PES 6. Master League. Jimenez, Castolo, Menanda. Man. Anyway, I'm reminiscing about PES 6 now. Let's speak about Harry Kane. This is what he's saying. Let's go full screen now. Don't need my mug on this. Harry Kane is still hoping Manchester United will resurrect their bid to sign him this summer, but his chances of leaving Tottenham hinge on Daniel Levy lowering his 100 million asking price. Yeah, good luck with that one. Harry Kane still hopes United will resurrect their bid to sign him if Daniel Levy lowers his demands. Let's go down here. United made it clear they will not do business for 100 mil. A price closer to 80 could tempt United back to the negotiating table, with Ten Hag preferring to sign a striker with a proven track record. There's plenty of people down here absolutely bigging up the Master League, mate. The Master League was the king. I'll tell you what I'm going to do here, right? I'm going to do today's poll is this. Do you think Levy will lower the price for Kane? 80 mil. Right? Yes or no? That's the question. Think about your answer before you type it in. Because of course, if Spurs don't sell Kane this summer, in all likeliness, they're losing him for free. They're losing their... How much was Gareth Bale sold for? Gareth Bale joins Real Madrid. I mean, that was a summer where Spurs signed like 9 players or something. Well, record transfer, 85. Okay, so he won't be the most expensive player they've ever sold, but it's pretty much on par. Well, it would be if it was 100 mil. I can't see Daniel Levy reducing it. I just can't. Now, there's a few people in the comments there saying, "Oh, Sam, what about Harry Kane transfer request?" Honestly, I don't know where the idea of a Harry Kane transfer request came from, but there is absolutely no chance Harry Kane will not force this transfer. He just won't. He'll ask politely, maybe, but he will not go down that path. He will not go down that route and sort of try and tarnish a legacy which he has built at the club in the same vein as to why he wouldn't go to Chelsea. I asked that question. Like, could he go Chelsea? Could he be reunited with Poch? And you think on paper, yeah, maybe. But I think there's just certain things that mean more to Harry Kane than maybe the average footballer. And that legacy and that sort of reputation, I think, is really, really important to him. Not that I'm saying it's not important to other ones, but there's no way he's joining Chelsea. I personally don't think there's any way that Levy reduces the price either. And as stubborn a man as he is, he seemingly Daniel Levy would prefer to have the risk of losing Harry Kane for free and then having a season to try and convince him to stay rather than the idea of letting Harry Kane join Manchester United. He would much rather entertain the idea of losing him for free than doing that. Let me see what you're saying down here. Al Max saying Kane should go to Real Madrid for cheap. All of Real Madrid's coins are in the Kylian Mbappe basket. Everyone knows that, right? Are you seriously questioning what legacy Kane has? No, I'm not. I'm doing the opposite. I think Kane is going to retire as the Premier League's all-time top goal scorer. Like for a lot of people, unless he's got trophies, unless he's got titles, then his whole career was a waste of time. Yeah, you try telling that to Harry Kane when he's telling his grandkids. Yeah, he's already ridiculous. He is one of the greatest strikers that has ever existed in this league. And just because he hasn't got titles does not mean that his legacy doesn't compare to others. Because I think that's kind of what everybody speaks about. I suppose that is what elite sport is. Elite sport is about titles, trophies, and winning. But there are certain things that, like being the top scorer in the Premier League, being England's all-time top scorer, being Spurs' top scorer. He's done plenty. Jonathan, you're saying he doesn't need to hand in a transfer request as weeks go on, just show how happy he is and on at Levy and a new. I don't know. Because the last thing I want, the absolute last thing I want this summer is for Manchester United on August the 26th, God knows what, a random date, 4 or 5 days before the end of the transfer window, and we still do not have a striker. That's the worst case scenario. Because otherwise, we're going to start like scrambling around, and we're going to get like Falcao on loan. We're going to scrambling around and get Fellaini on deadline day. I'm done with that. I'm absolutely done with that. But Harry Kane, I personally think it's wishful thinking to think that Daniel Levy will just go, you know what? Go on in, 80 mil. But maybe 80 mil would. Maybe that's what United have got to do. Put a bit of 80 mil in and see what happens. Jamie, you're saying 90 mil when he would sell. We can only guess as to what the price really is. But 100 million is the price that's really kind of been labelled around Harry Kane this whole time. Let me see what you're saying down here. Shearer won nothing. Obviously won the league at Blackburn. Yeah, he won one league title. Does that mean that... Okay, that's kind of a fair question to compare. Does that one league title... So say Harry Kane becomes the all-time top scorer in the Premier League. Would you then just happily argue and debate that Shearer is better than Kane because he won the Premier League once? Is that like the trump card to everything, rather than like looking at the individuals? And it's kind of, to be fair, I kind of hate that. It's really hard to compare a player that existed 10, 15 years ago to a player that exists now, because it's different leagues, it's different context, different everything. But I'm not sure it does. I mean, who else in that Blackburn team? I always forget this. Colin Hendry, he was one there. I think David Batty was in there. Chris Sutton, Tim Flowers. Tim Sherwood. Does that mean Tim Sherwood's one of the best midfielders that ever exists? Well, I don't think it does. Anyway, let's move on. Harry Kane. I don't personally think that him winning, or if he can leave Spurs now, like final point on Harry Kane there, if he can leave Spurs now and then steer Manchester United to a Premier League title, then wow, his legacy does go woof, through the roof. But I don't think his legacy is completely tarnished simply by the fact that he hasn't won the Premier League. That's what I think so anyway. Although, when it comes to Gerrard, that's a different conversation. Different rules apply there. And then, of course, when it comes to looking at other strikers, we've all been talking about Rasmus Højlund mostly. It seems like that's where Manchester United went, you know what? That's our man. And then all of a sudden, Atalanta are just kind of laughing on the phone going, yeah, we want 80 mil for him. Okie dokie, lads. I remember when the first conversations came out around Højlund and Muani, and we were saying price tag of Højlund, you're probably looking at around about 40 million euros. And then 80 million was the price that we were talking around Muani. Because he is a player that they're quite similar in their profiles, actually. But Muani is a player who is quite a bit ahead of Højlund in the development of his career. And the Quip in France are reporting that United and Bayern Munich are considered the favourites for Muani. I'll be totally honest. I think if Bayern Munich want him, Bayern Munich have got him. And that's that's dead in the water there, really. Of course, Bayern Munich are looking for a number 9 this summer. Bayern Munich would have loved Harry Kane. That's not going to happen. Kolo Muani moving from Frankfurt to Bayern Munich, it kind of feels, yeah, all right, that's going to happen. That's what I think so anyway. But of course, it depends whether or not Bayern Munich go after him. I haven't really heard too much on that. They got linked to, was it Fulkrug? I think we mentioned this yesterday. But according to the Quip, we are leading the race for him. He will cost 80 million euros. Højlund really shouldn't. Even if Atalanta want that price, it's like, all right, lads, cool. And we can thank Chelsea. We can thank state takeovers for creating the market which we now exist in, where Atalanta can honestly feel justified on the phone to say, yeah, Rasmus Højlund, who's had one semi-breakthrough season with 9 goals and is 20 years old, is going to cost you 80 million. That's how much Ronaldo was sold for. Of course, inflation. XYZ. So 80 million back in 2008 is not what 80 million is now. I understand that. But the audacity of these clubs to just throw ridiculous price tags. And then you come to Manchester United and you can get a player for it. It's like going down to the sweet shop. Can't get a Freddo now for 10p, but it's basically the same thing. Yeah. Kolo Muani for me feels like if Bayern want him, Bayern will get him. All right. Philip, you're saying he'd be yet another stopgap signing? I mean, he wouldn't be. It's quite the opposite. He wouldn't be the guarantee of goals that Harry Kane would be, but there is nobody else, not even Victor Osimhen, would be the guarantee of goals that Harry Kane would be. Now, you might argue that he would be the best alternative, and I'd agree with you. But ain't no way we're paying 130, 40, 50. I don't even know what price Victor Osimhen is, but it's an outrageous price. It's the exact same situation as Dortmund and Sancho. And we know how that film finished. So we're not going to be repeating that by going for Osimhen. Next year, Osimhen will probably, I don't know, join Bayern Munich or somebody for like 80 million. And it'll be a great signing for them. There's no way that anyone's paying 130, 140 million for him this summer. That's not happening. Now, really, really important. I've maintained this the whole way through from before the season ended to now. The idea of Manchester United getting a goalkeeper is right up there, just below us needing a new striker. And Chris Wheeler here is saying that the increasingly likely scenario is that David de Gea will leave as a free agent next week. So presumably, might be right, might be wrong. So I'm sure someone can let me know. De Gea's contract ends in June. So come the 1st of July, does that mean that he would be a free agent? So in 10 days' time, his contract runs out. So either Manchester United, because I suppose that's a deadline that's coming up. I'm sure somebody can let me know when the actual contract does expire or whether he's technically a free agent now. But we should be getting an announcement on it then, really. And you know exactly how I feel about it. Now is the time, right? Now is the time for Manchester United to shake De Gea's hand, to give him the send-off he deserves, but to give him the send-off. To walk him out the door. We're not going to be pushing him out the door. You remember how underhand, like, I remember Rio Ferdinand explaining the story of when, was it Ed Woodward walked into the dressing room and just kind of like pulled him to one side and said, oh, yeah, your contract's not getting renewed. And he's like, what? That's how he found out he was leaving Manchester United. He left through the back door. Vidic, I remember he got a pre-contract agreement halfway through the Moyes season. I felt like, are we getting abandoned by our captain? You're all saying that the contract ends at the end of June. Well, there you go. We've got 9-10 days then until we have clarity on the De Gea situation, because Man United are going to have to either announce a new contract before then, or he becomes a free agent and he leaves the club. Stephen, you're saying it's criminal to let De Gea go for free. Typical United. I'll be totally honest. If De Gea had, I don't know, if De Gea had like a 2-3 year contract right now, genuinely, what do you think he'd be worth? In the comments below. Say De Gea, say the whole conversation around De Gea was not about whether he's going to get a new contract. De Gea had a contract and he was there for 2-3 years. And Man United wanted to sell him this summer. How much do you think would be a realistic fee that we could charge for him? Because Real Madrid don't need a goalkeeper. Atletico Madrid don't need a goalkeeper. Barcelona don't need a goalkeeper. I don't know where he'd go. I mean, you might just get, that might be our version of this. That might be our version of just sending a player to Saudi Arabia and getting a big wedge for him. All the prices down there, 20, 40, 30, someone saying 50. You're optimistic. That may be what would happen. So sure, you can get annoyed the fact that we're letting him go for free, but it's that contract we gave him. Whoa. I don't think it's completely Captain Hindsight saying that. Like for him to become I think it was the best paid goalkeeper in the world, like by a margin when he got that deal. He was very good at that point, but woof, that was a big wedge. But it's just going to be another one that we're going to have to shrug our shoulders and go, well, we screwed that one up. Both in the amount of the contract, amount of wages he got on that contract, in the fact that we're now going to be losing him for a free. But look, when it comes to signs and like momentum and where things are going, everything is pointing towards a De Gea exit now. And everything is pointing towards United getting a new number one goalkeeper. And I swear to God, that is going to make this team so much better. Like almost immeasurably better. It is going to be chalk and cheese watching United last season to United this season. If we go out and we get a goalkeeper that suits the style. And of course, there's one goalkeeper right now I did my video yesterday. And I took, just for all intents and purposes, I put Diogo Costa in that starting 11. But it could have easily have been Andre Onana. And you've got Fabrizio Romano saying that we've explored the conditions for the move. Into starting price is 60 million euros. You've got DiMarzio here reporting that, look, Man United are definitely in for Andre Onana. And I've done this debate, and I probably will. I think this one deserves a video unto itself. Like, who would be the better replacement for De Gea? Andre Onana, Diogo Costa. Let's compare the stats. Let's compare the playing styles and the profiles, and we'll come to a conclusion at the end of it. But one thing is completely for certain. Whoever it is will improve Manchester United. Onana and Costa will help take this team somewhere where it hasn't currently been able to get to. I cannot wait for it. It's boring, really, when you think about it. Oh, wow, you're excited about a goalkeeper that can play it out from the back with the ball. Kind of on paper, it's like, well, that's like the most dull part of the game. But what's more dull has been United just hoofing a ball long and then the ball coming straight back and me just going, oh, really? Again? That's what we need to change. And I'm so excited for it. Hey, look, I'll be honest. If after all of this, De Gea signs a new contract and we sign a new second choice, that's going to be a sucker punch for me at this point. Because I didn't think we would reach this point. And the only reason I think we're at this point is because we haven't got the money to spend on Harry Kane. So I think there's been a bit of a readjustment in terms of our strategy. The super chat there from, who is it? Let me take up here. Pablo. Oh, mate, Pablo, you ledge. Thank you very much, dude. You sent a super chat, but you didn't actually say anything. So if you just send a normal comment, I'll try and see if I can spot one down here. I'll pull this up for you. Let me quickly look. Nope, I can't see anything from you there, mate. So if you want to fire in a comment, then you let me know. Let me see what you're saying down here. It's going to be amazing, Sam. Winning 38 games 0-0 because he can't score. That's what I'm saying. A goalkeeper is secondary to the new striker. But it's really close in the importance, for me personally, in the entire build-up of our team, in the entire control of our team. And I've said this before, and I will say it again and again and again. Man United just have this, with De Gea in goal, we've got an inability to just control the ball for, if you were to watch back all of our football last season and get your stopwatch out, boring, no one's going to do this, and you counted how many times United, for 90 seconds, I reckon, just kept the ball in our own half. Just 90 seconds, just passing it around, knock it long. We don't need to go there yet. Let's go back. Let's pass it around again. Let's get around the pressure. United can't do that. We have to move through the transition so quickly because we don't have the confidence to do that. And the line is very deep because of that. That's what I think anyway. And that's why I think this man leaving would make such a difference. If Onana or Costa came in, I wouldn't be offended. Both of them would be a massive upgrade. Gungshi, I see you down there. Mate, the man himself has got an emoji named after him. That's when you know you've made it in life. You can go and tell the grandkids, yeah, I remember this Channel United People's TV, yeah. You got a gong named after me. Got an emoji named after me. 5 gifted memberships. What a ledge. Let's move on to it. Now, this one's an interesting talking point. Definitely an interesting talking point is this. Fred. You got Jason Burt from The Telegraph yesterday saying that Manchester United have put Fred up for sale and £20 million is the price tag. What's your take on that? Fred for 20 mil. For me, looking at that, I think my immediate reaction would be, that feels a bit cheap. Feels a bit cheap. I think if I'm correct, Fred has got 1 year left on his contract, I think. Let me see if I can find out now. 1 sec. Contract expires June 24. Right. So I think so, yeah. So that means this is the last year that we could get a fee for him, unless he signed a new deal. Unless he signed a new deal. Steve, are you saying cheap because he's Brazilian or cheap because of his talent? I mean, Fred's a decent footballer. He is. You might not like him. There may be games, and there are plenty of them, where he throws in 3 out of 10s, but use Fred in the correct way, kind of a little bit like Fellaini in that sense. If you use Fellaini in the right way, he was a problem. But if you started Fellaini in central midfield every single week, which is what ended up happening, then you expose how bang average a footballer he is. Fred's the same thing. Play him in the central midfield position in a double pivot alongside McTominay, and you're like, this is painful. Play him in like a number 10 role or number 8, more like a number 8 role, ideally. Then he's got value. 20 million feels like a little bit of a low ball, but I tell you what, right? And this is the thing, because so many people have been getting offended about this. All right, let me pull this photo up. I didn't think I was going to put a photo up for this, but let's do it. Right. 1 second here. Because everybody, man, that's a bit harsh. Not everybody. A lot of United fans were getting offended about Manchester United spending 50 million on this man. Right? If Man United were to sell Fred for, let's go 20, 25 million, right? And we were to sign Mason Mount for 50 million, that is in my opinion, a significant technical upgrade for a player who's going to play that same sort of role. Fred's best position in this United team is playing as an aggressive, pressing number 8. Somebody to really run at the defense, to win the ball back high up the pitch, right? If Fred leaves for 20, 30 million and we sign Mason Mount for somewhere between 40 and 50 million, that's a massive upgrade. Ravi, you're saying Fred's better than Mount? Dude, he is not. He is nowhere near. Mount has a much higher technical ability. Fred's brilliant at winning the ball back, but that dude is erratic as hell when it comes to passing, when it comes to one-touch. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Mason Mount would be a very decent upgrade on Fred in that very specific role. Well, now we'd still need more in midfield. We'd still need like a Caicedo or a Declan Rice. But yeah, and this is what I mean about people getting like deeply offended about the fact that Ten Hag's going after Mason Mount. Maybe he's known all along that Fred's going to be leaving, and in his head he's been like, right, Fred can leave, and then Mount can come in, and boom, that's a good upgrade, and that is a good upgrade. Now maybe he's going to be going to Fulham. Can we just say Fulham, right? Seeing as we're talking, lads, do you fancy throwing Paulina coming the other way? Yeah, why not? Hey, look, I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking. That's how we signed Cantona, wasn't it? Who was it that were they trying to sign Dennis Irwin or something? I think it was Dennis Irwin. I can't remember. But that's how we signed Cantona. It was just it was kind of like a throwaway comment at the end of another conversation that we were having with Leeds. Yeah, if Fred leaves and Mount comes in, that's pretty much a kind of a like for like positionally. That number 8 aggressive pressing player, but Mount offers so much more. And I'll be pretty happy with that. We'd still need significantly more this summer, right? What? People are down here telling me that Fulham have put 90 million on Paulinho. Mate, come on. Can we just all like go and, I don't know. Should we go and watch tennis? Simpler, isn't it? The figures and the money involved in football is just, it's crazy these days, man. Apparently it was Dennis Irwin. Look at that. 10 points up there. That man right there. Probably, in fact, I would probably say definitely the single best signing we've ever made in the Premier League. And I don't even think it's really close. Now, you could obviously go Ronaldo's the best player I've watched live in my own eyes. But Erik Cantona, the best signing that we've ever made from where we were as a football club before he came in. Hoi. But 70, 90 minutes. Oh, piss off, man. That's not what I'm saying about that. Paulinho. Welcome to football. Welcome to football. Whew. Wayne Taylor, you're saying Brian Robson. Mate, Brian Robson was there before the Premier League. If I'm not mistaken. He definitely was. Look, you can see that on here. We've got Mr. Bojang. Where's Mr. Bojangles from? I had that in my head. Who sings that? Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I don't know why that tune's been in my head all morning because I saw the word Bojang. This is coming from Ed Aarons in The Guardian yesterday. Man United and Newcastle joined the race to sign 19-year-old Adama Bojang. Cool. All right. That's another name on the list. Let's add another name on the list as well. Federico Di Marco, the Inter fullback. I don't really think United are going after fullbacks this summer. It's pretty low down on our priority list, isn't it? You've got striker, you've got goalkeeper, You've got number 8. Well, clearly the number 8 is actually higher up the list for Erik ten Hag than we think he is. So that's striker, goalkeeper, number 8. I would argue probably right-sided centre-back being number 4, or it was that central midfielder, like a Caicedo. All still before we speak about wing-backs and full-backs. It's just it's not the summer for that. You can link us to it all you want, but I don't particularly think that's going to happen. So many people down here telling me it's Sammy Davis Jr. I typed in Mr. Bojangles, and Wikipedia is telling me the original version was a B-side written in 1969 by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Don't have a go at me, right? I'm just reading Wikipedia. Do you want to know something hilarious? I wouldn't say, is this hilarious? I mean, it's quite the opposite of hilarious. I would say it's staggering, right? Look at this list. These are the players who have played the most minutes this season out of all the leagues. And look who is there at the top of the list. Bruno Fernandes, playing over 300 minutes more than any other player. And you know why I said it's funny? Look at the positions of all the other top 5 players. Dominic Livakovic, goalkeeper. Anthony Morris, goalkeeper. Max Crocombe, goalkeeper. Oh dear, I shouldn't have done this. Odysseus Vlachodimos. I did all right there. Goalkeeper. All the other ones in the top 5 are goalkeepers. Yet Bruno Fernandes still has nearly 300 minutes more than any of them. It's staggering. That stat there is absolutely wild. Bruno Fernandes, and this season again, has come into some real criticism from United fans. You remember how many times I felt like I've had to defend him here on the channel? It's because people expect a perfection with every pass. It's odd. It's odd. Jonathan, you're saying what happens when Bruno eventually gets that bad injury from overplaying? Dude, you'd think it would happen. And you would imagine that when Bruno goes over the age of 30, you'd have concerns. I don't imagine Bruno Fernandes is going to be playing elite level football come his mid-30s, because I imagine his body's going to be like, mate, you have ruined me. I'm done at 33. But at this moment in time where he is now, he's relentless. And that stat there is sort of like, yeah, it's staggering. It really, really is. Super chat there from Ray. How you doing, Ray? Morning, Sam. Great show as always. I love the show, man. I love the community. I love everyone tuning in. You've got Ramson watching from Doha and Qatar. Can you kind of let us know what's going on with the takeover, please, mate? We're waiting for it. As I said, the only snippet of an update that I brought you here this morning was reports coming out from the south of France that Ineos are losing confidence. Now, that's not warranting. I don't think that warrants a video itself. I think I want to focus on Man United's. But I don't know. I'll think about what I want to do for lunchtime video today. You know what it is at last couple of minutes of every single show. You can fire in your questions. I'll answer them. It can be about football. It can be about anything. And yeah, we've got T-minus 48 hours now for United to announce takeover before I'm in Amsterdam. And I guarantee they do it in Amsterdam. I guarantee you. Wayne Taylor, thank you so much, dude, for gifting a membership. That was a good show. I enjoyed that. What we're saying down here in the comments. That's over 7 full games more than the next outfield player in Vinicius Jr. Mate, it's mad. The poll results. Thank you very much down there. Right. So we've got 1,700 votes now. So I'll ask you, please. There's 1,200 of you that have voted but have not liked the video. If all of you could just take 1 second to go, boom, drop a like on the video, that would be amazing. But 1,700 votes are in, and 66% of you are saying no. You do not think that Daniel Levy will change the price, and I don't think he will either. I'm in agreement with 66% of you. We know how stubborn he is. It would just be strange for that to happen. Stuart, you're going to the dam to get baked. Man, there is so much. If no one's ever been to Amsterdam, Amsterdam can be exactly what you want it to be. If you want to go to Amsterdam and get stoned, it's very easy to do that. If you want to go to Amsterdam and have a real nice cultural weekend, museums, canal trips, walks, you can do that. If you want to go to Amsterdam and listen to live music, you've got that. I love the place. I've been there. I don't know how many times I've been there. But every time you go to Amsterdam, you can have the exact sort of weekend you want. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go there. I want to listen to some music. It's going to be sunny as hell. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. A few days in Amsterdam. Everybody should get to enjoy it. And everybody, if you've never been, then go. It's one of the best cities in the world. Either Amsterdam or Barcelona, probably my two favorite European cities. Always have a great time there, no matter what day of the year. And when you go and it's sunny, magnifique. But look, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here on Friday. Will the takeover be announced? I mean, I hope so. I really hope so. Jeez, we all hope so. That was a good conversation there about Harry Kane, everything. Make sure you subscribe. If you want to become part of the community, and I'm sure there are plenty of you that aren't subscribed, get involved. If you'd like to, enter the draw to win a 50K 4-inch, 50K 4-inch? No, 50-inch 4K TV. Only £1 per ticket. All right. Raffle draw is going to be made in 10 days. And then I'm going to be announcing July's raffle prize, and it's an absolute scorcher. Take it easy, everyone. Have a cracking day.